In a quiet town where whispers were born, a library stood from dusk until morn. Its keeper, Mara, with eyes deep and gray, knew secrets of souls from a far distant day. Her shelves held more than stories and lore. They held the past lives of all who walked through her door. The townsfolk would speak of her in a hushed, gentle way. How she'd offer a book and then softly would say, "This one you cherished," by a fireside soft gleam in a life lived before, like a half-forgotten dream. She saw soldiers and sailors, and poets and kings in the faces of farmers, the life that she brings. She'd see an old woman with hands worn and rough, and remember a queen who thought she'd had enough. A baker, kneading dough with a rhythmic, soft pound, was once a composer of magnificent sound. A child, barely 5, with a laugh clear and bright, was a scholar who studied by candlelight. Mara saw timelines, tangled and vast, every person a story, a shadow they cast. One day, a man, a traveler weary and sore, stepped into the silence and closed the front door. He searched for a volume, a forgotten old quest, a legend of heroes put to the ultimate test. He couldn't recall the title or name, just a feeling, a memory, a flickering flame. Mara just smiled, a knowing, soft grace, and walked to a corner, a shadowed, dark space. She pulled out a book, its cover well worn. "You never did finish this," she said, "since you were born. Into this life, that is. In the last, you were close. It was the winter of 18-0-4, I suppose." The traveler froze, his breath caught in his throat. He remembered a dream of a snow-covered coat, a battle, a promise, a love left behind, images flashing like ghosts in his mind. He thought they were fictions, a fantasy's art, but Mara knew every last beat of his heart. She spoke of a locket he lost in the fray, and a song he once hummed at the close of the day. He stumbled outside with the book in his hand, and the news spread like wildfire all over the land. The librarian, Mara, could see what had been, the lives lived before, the triumphs, the sin. People soon journeyed from far and from wide, with questions and secrets they wanted to hide. A woman arrived, her face etched with pain. "Was I ever happy? Will I find love again?" Mara looked at her softly, her gaze kind and deep. "You were a gardener, promises you would keep. You tended to roses, red, yellow, and white, and your love was the sun that gave them their light. He'll find you again, dear. Just give him some time. His soul knows your scent, your rhythm, your rhyme." Then came a man, with a hunger for might. His eyes held a darkness that shunned the daylight. "Tell me," he demanded, "when was I a king? What battles I won? What treasures I bring?" Mara grew somber, her voice but a thread. "Power is a poison that fills you with dread. You were a tyrant, your rule built on fear, and your legacy vanished, year after lonely year. That hunger you feel is an echo of loss. The weight of a crown is a terrible cross. Seek kindness instead, or you'll follow that path and be doomed to repeat its sorrowful wrath. But not all who came sought comfort or truth. Some came to erase the mistakes of their youth." A man with a scar running down his left cheek heard Mara's strange talent made the strongest feel weak. He wanted a memory buried and gone, a betrayal committed at the first light of dawn. He entered the library, his intentions unclear, hoping to silence the source of his fear. But Mara just met him with pity, not dread. "The past cannot be unwritten," she said. "It can only be faced. It can only be known. The seeds of your actions have already been sown. The one you wronged waits, not for vengeance or spite, but for you to find peace and finally do what is right." The whispers grew louder, a thundering sound of the librarian's gift on that hallowed ground. The story reached cities and halls of great power, where men in dark suits watched the turning of the hour. They saw not a gift, but a threat to control, a woman who held the history of every soul. What if she knew secrets of state, dark and deep? What if she woke truths they had put fast asleep? A world built on stories they carefully spun could all be unraveled by this quiet, lone one. A threat to the order, a crack in the wall. This librarian's knowledge could make empires fall. So they came for her then, in their polished black cars, with their badges and files and emotional scars. They called it a study, an official request, to understand her ability, to put it to test. Mara just nodded, her face calm and pale. She knew this was coming. She knew she would fail, or so they all thought. She tidied her space, putting each book in its rightful, old place. The agents, they smiled, a victory won. Their mission to capture her had just begun. But when they returned the very next day, the library was empty in a haunting display. The shelves were all barren. The books, everyone, had vanished like mist in the morning's first sun. The records were wiped, the card catalogs bare, just silence and dust hanging thick in the air. The town was bewildered. The world held its breath. Had Mara been taken? Had she met with her death? The agents searched madly for a clue or a sign of this sudden, impossible, clever design. And there on the counter, where light cut a slash, a single note lay in a final, bold flash. It wasn't a threat, or a plea, just 7 small words for the whole world to see. Etched on the page in a fine, flowing hand, a promise, a riddle, across the whole land. Knowledge never dies was the message she wrote. It just turns the page, and that was her note. And somewhere, right now, in a city or town, a new library is built, from the old ashes down. A quiet new keeper, with eyes deep in gray, is waiting for you to come walking her way. Perhaps she'll hand you a book you once knew, and whisper a secret that's waiting for you. For stories live on, and the soul will transcend, and the tale of the librarian will never truly end. Thanks for listening to our story today. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another tale. We have countless other mysteries waiting for you, just a click away. Until next time, keep turning the pages.